Dr. Bill Deagle joins us this hour. We're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to put as much into it as we possibly can. All right, Bill, welcome back, and we're going to jump into the smart meter thing because Bill has some amazing things to put on the table for all of you. And I do hope you've noticed at Rense.com the smart meter story right up near the very top of headlines. It's also in the smart meter featured story box. There is no federal mandate, folks. They cannot come onto your property under any federal law and put those meters on your house, on your business, on your apartment. There's no federal mandate. Marty Oakley has done all the research. She's put the laws and regulations up there. You can print them out, take them to your local utility, and say, stay off my property, keep your smart meters. Boy, if they put them on and you succeed in getting them to take it off, they're going to try to make you pay about $130, $150 a year, plus an origination fee of maybe $30, $40 to have somebody come out and take the meter off. It's outrageous. Go ahead, Bill. Hi.
Hi. I became very aware of this smart meter thing just literally a short time ago, and hadn't realized that they had actually swapped out my meter and discovered that it was done without notification last November. Yeah,
let's go right into smart meters.
Can you hear that sound in the background?
Yes.
Hear that rattle?
Let's explain to people what that is. Now, this is really, really something, folks. Pay attention. Go ahead,
okay.
Bill.
The device I have is from Germany. It's a smog meter. It's the highest quality meter you can get. It measures between 800 megahertz and 2,500 megahertz.
That's cell phone radiation frequencies.
Cell phone, yeah. And the meter outside says FCC 3 watts. Now, the most power that I'm allowed to transmit by the exclusion of the FCC is 0.01 watts, right?
0.01, I got it.
0.01. So they're allowed to transmit a 3 watt, and it's actually in the same frequency range. And when I called up Jim Turman from San Diego Gas and Electric, he said, well, they're a mesh network, but they might be potentially connected up to 6 meters, and they only transmit twice a day. I said, well, you're mistaken.
Twice a day, folks. That's what they told Dr. Bill Deagle.
You can hear this rattling on in the background here. Can you hear that?
Yep.
It's going over limit, which means it's over 2,000 microwatts per square meter, and it's doing it every 6 to 8 seconds.
Okay, that's not twice a day, ladies and gentlemen. Every 6 to 8 seconds, around the clock, Bill Deagle's 3-watt smart meter is emitting microwave radiation.
On the other side of a wall, 10 feet from my desk where I broadcast. Now, I'm not just a little mad because I'm an expert on electromagnetic radiation. And I had no idea they had put this thing here or advised me what was going on. And when I started doing my own investigations, finding out things like this law that you mentioned, that Marty Oakley mentioned, looking into the research on it, so I obtained all these electronic devices to actually scan and find out how bad it is. And it's far worse than you can imagine. It's like if there's 1,440 minutes in a day, and this is going off, say, anywhere from 8 to 10 times an hour, it's potentially as much as 14,400.
No, 8 to 10 times a minute.
A minute. 8 to 10 times a minute. It's going up somewhere around 14,400 times per day. And you can hear it rattling via background because I have it pointed directly at the meter on the other side of my wall in my studio.
So you're reading this from inside your house just to let people know
on my desk. I'm reading from inside my
house. It's omnidirectional.
Yeah, this omnidirectional, and this special analysis machine, the HF35C, which is through one of our affiliate companies called SCMF, is directional. It's aimed directly at that meter, and this is what it's picking up. Now, to give an idea, if a cell phone is a candle, this is a raging forest fire of radiation.
Now watch what they'll do. Because they know you're on the radio, they'll probably deactivate your meter.
Well, it's still rattling away. I don't presume that that confident. You can hear it still rattling.
Sure.
You're going off every so many seconds?
Yeah, there it is. Keep it up next to the phone. Let's just keep listening to it.
Yeah, you can actually hear it rattle.
Oh, you hear it clearly.
Rattle.
Yeah.
So, now, let me explain what cell phones do. And I went through the literature again because I've done research in this some years ago, back in the early 80s. I was working with electromagnetics because they use the right kinds of wave fields in healthcare in Europe, all through Europe and Eastern Europe. And, in fact, in the early 80s, I had a machine from Holland when I was in practice in Calgary doing work trying to help people with chronic pain. And the right kinds of waveforms and low frequency can be helpful, just like, interferential therapy where you're trying to break up muscle spasms.
Well, you're talking about Royal Rife and
that's right,
other
that kind of
things,
thing.
yeah.
But when you get these kind of waveforms in this frequency range, what they do is they affect what's called calcium channels. And they basically, to explain, one of the major effects they do is they make channels open and dump calcium into your cell, which totally messes up. Hear that rattle again? Now,
Sure do.
It hits one, and what it means is over limit, which means, I don't know how it is, it's gone over the top of the limit on the peak energy for 2,000 microwatts per square meter. Okay? So what it does is opens up these calcium channels and dumps calcium into the cell. When it does that, the cell basically screams and says, what do we do next? And it actually jams up all kinds of enzyme pathways, can turn on genes for cancer, can cause you to have a heart attack or cardiac arrhythmia, can basically demineralize your cells. And people need to understand this. The most important thing in your cell is minerals. And that's why Dr. Carlo did research, one of the major researchers of the cell company, and turned on them, discovered that the number one protectant against radiation is adequate intracellular minerals. When you get blasted with radiation, you start dumping your minerals. If you dump chromium and zinc, you turn diabetic. When you dump other minerals, you can't reproduce your cells, your stem cell population, your cells and your tissues start to deteriorate. You can develop accelerated aging, mental confusion, agitation, sleep disturbances, cardiac arrhythmias. I mean, you can go on the list is so long I could be here an hour. Okay? Now, I take a ton of vitamins, thank God, so I'm more resistant than I otherwise would be. But I can tell you that I need to take a lot of stuff to go to sleep at night, a lot more than I ever did since last November. And I now put all the pieces together, and I'm suing the California Public Utilities Commission, San Diego Gas and Electric, and I'm inviting others to join me because I'm going to make this a class action against these characters. So we're going to sue Edison Electric, PG&E, and being a member of the American Academy of Environmental Medicine, I have lots of contacts of the top environmental doctors in the world for electropollutions, electrosmog, and these kind of devices.
Yeah.
We're going to hammer these maniacs good. We're going to sue them for many, many millions, and we're going to set up a fund for all the people who have been injured. We estimate that 3 to 5% of the population are extremely electrosensitive. In these kind of situations, they'll be getting very ill. 25 to 30% under conditions become electrosensitized, and the rest of the population will take a little while before they get sick.
Now this, again, just to recap, Bill discovered the meter not long ago. It says on the meter 3 watts. That's the output. The legal amount you can maximally transmit without an FCC license is 0.01 watts.
0.01.
All right. Now this is 3 watts. This is a big burst. Now this is just the electric meter. If Bill had one for the water and the gas, he'd have maybe 9 watts. We don't know. If Bill lived next to an apartment building with 100 units at the big junction in the corner where all the meters are, there could be 100 times 3 or 100 times 1. There could be 100 watts minimum being beamed right through his home, right through his body, every cell in his body, his family's bodies, the works. Every time those meters activated, which is obviously more than twice a day.
Now, what happens is this is not just because it's not just a radio transmitter. Because it's transmitting out in this radial fashion, it's also, by the very definition, going to transmit it into the wires of your house. So your entire house is an electrified cage.
Yeah.
And these frequencies are embedded there. Plus, all the homes around you are transmitting. And what they've done is they set these up as what's called a mesh network, which means there's not a direct connection to the cell phone or the return tower to Sempra Energy, San Diego Gas and Electric. And these can be connected to over 600 homes. And it's not just one of these. It could be what's called a super meter. I don't think I have one. Because we're in a more rural area in North County, San Diego, instead of giving me a 1-watt meter, without my permission, without advising me, they put a 3-watt transmitter there. You can hear it go off again, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, now that kind of scratch, it's like a pecking sound. That's pulses of very high energy electromagnetic radiation, and the same frequency as the calcium channels in my body. Now, I'm not just a little man. I'm hopping mad. It's like somebody taking shots, and I can hear the bullet whizzing past my ear. I'm not happy. Okay?
And this, I would suggest, is probably fairly common with most so-called smart meters. You may
Right.
not have a 3-watt meter, but it's in all
You usually
likelihood.
have a 1 watt.
Every report I've heard, Bill, suggests the same pattern. These things hum all night long. They'll
tell you twice a day.
Yeah.
You get this device. This is $429 through LessEMF. There's a link on our website, NutriMedical.com. We have other. I'm also going to put up a protocol for electropollution. Now, the primary thing you need, number one, is minerals. And so we have a thing called Vitamineral Max, all the activated minerals. We also have Indiamines, which is the primary chaperone that brings minerals into your cells throughout your body. And then we have Magnesoothe oil or bath salts you can get from the Dead Sea to mineralize you. You've got to get your mineral content up. That's number one. Number two, you got to stop the secondary free radicals in your body. And if you don't do that, these things are very akin to the same kind of effects of the ionizing radiation from Fukushima. Both tritium, which is being generated in enormous amounts because now that these coriums are getting to the groundwater table, they're generating amazing amounts. And what they do is they interfere with the water bonds around all the active sites of all the enzymes in your body and the DNA that literally is wrapped around water molecules in the center of your cell. It's not held together by a covalent bond. It's a water bond called a van der Waals or hydrogen bond. That's all it is. It's two helixes wrapped around water.
Okay, stand by, Bill. We have to take a break. Hold on, please. Back in a minute. You've been hearing the missions, there it is again, from Dr. Bill Deagle's smart meter. Remember, don't just think of them as transmitters. It works both ways. Remember, you are in a cage of wiring, and whatever comes into that meter can easily be propagated throughout all the wiring in your house, emanating and radiating various frequencies that trigger in your body not only physiological reactions, but mental and emotional responses as well. Think about it.